Hey, how you doing, Derek?
I'm great. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Want to welcome you to Heavy Brand Podcast, Detroit's premier youth sports podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Appreciate you. Let's start a quick look. If I say like Detroit, Michigan, and stuff like that, if it sounds weird, it's because some of our audience they're from like different parts of the world. So I got to remind them that Detroit is in Michigan.
Okay. All right. Understandable.
So with that being said, Derek, I want you to introduce yourself to the good people, please.
Yes. Thank you so much. I am Coach Derrick Davis, author of Men in Motivation, head coach of Detroit Community High School, located in Detroit on Burt Road.
Excellent, excellent. Now, um, Derek, take us back to as far back as junior high, middle school, as far as where your basketball journey began, because we want to see how far the sport took you to where you're at now.
Wow. Wow. So back to middle school, I attended Joy Middle School, where I was the starting shooting guard on the team. And in 3 years, we only lost one game. That school is no longer up and operable. It has been demolished and is no longer standing. But I played with some extremely talented kids. And like I said, in 3 years, we only lost one game. And then from that point on, I went to Detroit King High School, and I met some phenomenal dudes who I'm still close with to this day. James Steers, who's my brother JT, who's Syracuse University top 50 players of all time. He wound up graduating from University of Detroit. Uh, uh, Mike Helms, Brian Henderson, Sam Hopes. It's a slew of guys. And then it was coached by Benny White. Benny White,
So Canton now, right?
Yes. Who is a big brother to me, an uncle who we talk regularly on a regular basis, who's been very inspirational in my life. I wound up transferring from Detroit King and attending Detroit Southeastern 30-30. Shout out to all my Jungleers. And that's where I ended my high school career at. Then I went on and got a scholarship to Macomb Community College, where I was the captain of the basketball team there. Coach Henry Washington, who's also a phenomenal person who I learned a lot from, who is dear to my craft and to my life to this day. And that just spiraled. From there, I went on to become an assistant coach at Detroit Crockett, and then I left there. I'm an associate head coach at Detroit Kettering, and then from there, I finished my schooling at Eastern Michigan University. Shout out to the Eagles. And Coach Robert Murphy, who was the head coach there still to this day, gave me an opportunity to coach on the collegiate and Division I college level, which is an opportunity that you don't get regularly and you don't take lightly. And from that point on, I went to Detroit Southeastern, back to my alumni. I was getting an opportunity to be there as the head coach and athletic director. Then I moved on from there to Trillium Academy, to Taylor Prep, and now where I'm at now at Detroit Community High School, with a great administration, great leadership, and a great bunch of kids.
Beautiful, beautiful. With our young people, we tell them that, you know, use the sport of basketball. Don't let the sport use you. Make sure that you develop other things besides putting the ball in the hole. And your story really intrigues me because yes, you love the sport of basketball, but you also made sure that you benefited off the sport rather than just playing ball, working on putting the ball through the hoop and not doing anything else. Now, so you pretty much been on, different sides of the floor, so to speak. Now, take us back to a young Derrick Davis playing high school ball. What was the atmosphere like playing in the PSL in those days?
Listen, it was atmosphere like none other. As confident as I was and as hard as I worked, game day I always had butterflies because the fact that wherever you was going, not only you knew it was going to be a game, but you knew the atmosphere was going to be electric. We had a whole bunch of strong teams. We had a whole bunch of really, really good players. But every place you went to, whatever gym you went to, it was going to be electric, the atmosphere, the ambiance of everything. And so I don't care if you was going to Kettering, Northern, Persian, Finney, Denby, it was going to be atmosphere that if you wasn't tough, you was gonna have to sit on the bench next to the coach and get some pom-poms and you're next to the cheerleaders, because all those gyms and all those people made you realize where you was at.
So now, go ahead. Now, typically, you might get questions like, okay, who was the best players that you went up against? But I'm gonna flip it a little bit.
Okay.
As far as like the teams that weren't like top tier programs, which of those teams you say has some really elite players? They just didn't have like a supporting cast.
Oh wow. Probably Osborne and Kettering. They had one or two players that could really play and that was really talented, and because of circumstances, other players who were as talented as them didn't make the team, and not because their ability or their talent level, because like I said, because of circumstances, because of grades or some things that are outside of school that was happening, and basketball wasn't just on their agenda. But I remember at Kettering, they had a really talented kid my senior year named LaShawn Moody, and at Osborne they had a kid by the name of Mallet. Mallet was his last name.
Jerron Mallet. Okay, Jerron Mallet. Yeah.
I mean, he can go get you 20 or 30 easy. But like I said, due to circumstances, they didn't have their supporting cast or the guys that was as talented as them to play with.
Gotcha. I think if I remember correctly, I think Jerron, he started off at Cass Tech, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think he was at Cass Tech for a hot minute.
You're right.
Yep. Now recently we had I had Shea Cotton on the podcast, and he was talking about going from being ranked right up there with the Kevin Garnett's and Kobe Bryant's on the high school level, doing his thing at Alabama, then certainly not getting drafted. What advice would you have for young ball players that have dreams of making it to that level? What kind of advice would you have for these young ball players out here?
Just because you didn't make it to the level you thought don't mean you can't make it. And it's crazy because when people say this, and I was captain of my high school team and basketball team, and I always just believe in just working hard in everybody else and outworking everybody else, and I always knew that I was going to be great because my work ethic was great. And so the advice I can have to any young ball player who desiring to make it to that next level, don't quit working hard just because what you thought was going to work didn't work out. So, I mean, everybody is not going to be in the pros. Everybody not going to be on ESPN. Everybody is, not going to get $1 million contracts for playing basketball. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's a whole lot of professions, a whole lot of professionals that you don't see on TV.
Facts.
And so the thing is, we can name the top 5 players in the NBA easily. But guess what? Somebody signed their checks.
True.
So my point at the end of the day is you can still be phenomenal in whatever it is you desire to be without making a layup or dunking a basketball or being seen on TV.
Well said. Now, Derrick, take us to how it's like to be an athletic director, because that's kind of like one of those positions where a lot of people don't really know about. A lot of student athletes, they tend to be more around like the coaches, but as far as like the athletic director, how is a day in the life of an athletic director?
Well, when I was athletic director, it was challenging because I went in there with no blueprint, no really instructions. It was just all, okay, you figure it out. And yes, I did have people I could turn to and talk to, but my name was still on the line, so I had to figure things out. And so that's a different side of the fence. And when I was athletic director, I was currently the head coach, and so you have to be very mindful of that because you want to, as athletic director, you over the whole department. And so you want to see the whole department flourish, and you want to see the whole department be successful, and which includes every entity of the programs. And so then as the athletic director and a basketball coach, anytime it always seemed like, even if you don't say it, or it just seemed like you're going to lean more towards a basketball program, And so I can say that, learning from my experience, if I ever got the opportunity again to be an athletic director, I'll probably just be just the athletic director, because I don't want no confusion. I want it to be understood, and not without being said that my concern is about the program in its entirety, not one particular aspect of it. And so it was a great opportunity. I learned a lot, and with being an athletic director, I think the most important thing that I took from it is that women's sports is just much as important as male sports, and so you got to treat it as such. And so whatever you desire or trying to do for the boys, you need to do the same thing for the women or the girls.
Yes, sir. Well said. Now, I was putting together a PSL series this summer, at the beginning of when I started the podcast, and I heard Kevin Durant on social media talking about how the PG County, basketball county, how that DC area produced a lot of top hoopers. And as I was doing my whole PSL series research for Detroit Public School League, I realized that Detroit Public School League also put out a lot of NBA and pro talent. Now we're gonna take the gloves off a little bit, Derrick. Now, how do you explain like the decline as far as PSL talent going to the pro level? Like what happened to PSL basketball? How come we don't produce as many pros now?
Because we don't got as many. So I'm gonna start off right there, because we don't have as many. But the climate has changed. The climate and culture have changed, and now you have a plethora of prep schools, and then you got this reclassification, and then social media. Social media is big. It wasn't no social media then. You get in the gym and you work hard, and then nobody know or could tell until it was game time when they see, ooh, shoot, he got better. Ooh, that boy good. Now, you can go in the gym and put something on social media and get 1,000 likes, and they think you can play. And then instead of being in neighborhood school, you at some prep school across the country because of a video you posted. And so at the end of the day, PSL used to be super tough and packed with super talent, and it was never no days off. The talent declined because the individuals chose to do different things. Like I said, it's a plethora of prep schools now, and social media. And then now it's, if you go to this school, you'll get more scouted. If you go to this school, you'll get more looks. Well, that's the talk. And like my daddy used to always say, if you're good, they'll find you.
Now, as you know, as you were saying, I was thinking of Josh Jackson. Now he's on the Pistons. Remember, he started off in Detroit, at a prep school, ended up somewhere else. Yeah.
It wasn't a prep school. The school changed its name.
Charter school.
Well, it is now. It's called Detroit Voyager now. It used to be something else. And I just had that conversation yesterday about someone else, and I'm mad I forgot that. But he won a state championship here as a sophomore, 10th grader at the school. And then once again, super talented. I mean, he was a lottery pick, but after he won it, his sophomore year, guess what he did? He left.
Transferred out.
Out of the state. And so that's what I mean about, so the talents went down because it's no longer around. They're deciding to go other routes and other avenues, and that's fine, you know, if that's what they're deciding to do. But and I think that's primarily because the culture has changed, because Jalen Rose ain't going nowhere. Chris Webber ain't going nowhere. You know, Spencer Haywood ain't going nowhere. You know, them guys ain't going nowhere. You know, George Gervin ain't going nowhere. Come on. We're talking about, we have
generational talent here.
Yeah, somebody from the PSL we have in the top 50, all greats. Like, you know, all time that played the game. And so leaving here, if you got game, you got game. You don't have to leave here to get game. If you got game, you got game. But like I said, because of the culture and the climate in today's era, you know, young kids are not focusing on improving themselves. They're focusing on, you know, moving themselves, if that makes sense. Because right now, it's not in the PSL, but in the state of Michigan, we have one of the top players regardless of class, and Imani Bates.
Imani Bates, yeah.
So no, when you talk about talent in basketball, like that's right here in our backyard. And one of the top, another top kid in his class who I'm close to, him and his father, because I worked with him at various camps that I worked in, Jaden Harding, who's top 3 in the country. And say Vegas, but he's from here, but he left.
Yeah.
And so what I mean is that, like, so we breed talent and we breed pros, but
it's just through a different pipeline now. Okay.
They just don't stay.
Now, recently on this podcast, I've been getting like little highlight clips from, you got a lot of the young ball players to follow the show that are South Sudanese. There's like a whole basketball wave coming out of that nation. They seem to have the tallest people in the world. You know, Manu Bol kind of started that whole trend. And some of these ball players, they want to transfer over to high schools here. It was a little bit simpler when I was coaching high school ball in Colorado, where we get a lot of South Sudanese immigrants. But in Michigan, I've never run into any South Sudanese kids. What kind of tips would you have for South Sudanese ball players that have hopes of transferring to a high school, let's say in Michigan, to finish out the playing careers and have a chance of better looks? What kind of advice would you have for them?
Keep working, and whatever film or footage you got, keep sending it out, because at the end of the day, someone will take a look at it and someone will like it, and it will get figured out. And if that's your hopes and that's your dreams, don't let no one kill them, because they belong to you. Don't let them die, because only you can control those things. And at the end of the day, if that's what you want, you can get it. Just understand, it may take longer than what you expected. It may not happen when you want it to happen, but it will happen. If you keep making yourself available, if you keep putting yourself out there, someone will pick up on it and someone will answer the call, and it will happen for you.
Excellent. On this show, we had Glenn Cyprian. He was a exec for the Memphis Grizzlies, and he was talking about when he was coaching, his coaching days, he talked about how hard it was for African Americans not only to get coaching jobs, but let alone second chances. You know, what would you say was some of like the most eye-opening experience that you had while you were a part of the Eastern Michigan basketball program?
Well, some of the most eye-opening experience that I had, like once again, I'm thankful for Robert Murphy, who's still the head coach there right now, who gave me an opportunity to be a part of the staff, is that that's true. That's true. As African Americans, I don't believe in pointing a finger, and I don't believe in saying, well, it's because that I'm Black. But the reality of it is, we're in America, and we don't have the we don't have the same opportunities. We're not given the same opportunities people are given from other races because of our race. And so the best advice I can give is to make sure, my dad used to always say, qualify then apply. So make sure that you cannot be ruled out because you're not qualified. So make sure you have a degree. Make sure you have the experience. Make sure that you know you are prepared, and make sure that all the X's are crossed and all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Because at the end of the day, we have to make sure when we go to the table that we prepared. We can't come to the table and bring nothing. We got to come to the table with our whole full portfolio and our whole full plan, and not plan for the job. I'm planning for the next 3 to 5 years. This is what we plan. This is how we're going to do it. And this is what we're going to do. So us as African-American, but I love the fact that I am me and I'm my own skin, because it always pushes me to work harder. It always pushes me to be better. And so once again, I don't play the blame game, and I hope they don't play it, but understand that you have to be more prepared than what others are.
Appreciate those words of wisdom. And speaking of words of wisdom, who are some of your role models, you know, that helped you, that helps you stay focused, help guide you along? Because a lot of us are not from, the burbs where, it was just a safe environment 24/7. Who are some people that kind of kept you on track?
Well, I'm definitely not from the burbs. I'm from the east side of Detroit. But man, that is that's like a long list of people. But on the top of my head, first and foremost, my father, Walter Cheeks. He was my most influential figure in my life. God rest his soul. My grandmother, Juanita Davis. She's second in line behind my dad. And then, from a coach's perspective, Henry Washington, Arvis Young, Benny White.
Shout outs to Coach Young. Shout outs to Coach Young.
Benny White, Robert Murphy, and Mark White, who's the head coach of Summit High School, who won a few state championships here, who was a college coach also, and also Rob Murray, who gave me not only the opportunity, but told me I can be good as I want to be. And, that helped me to realize, it's up to me. Okay. So those guys, man, really played a major role in my life, and I'm forever grateful for it. And also, and it's funny, maybe this is an odd, awkward one, but it's this black-owned business in the city of Detroit. Hot Sam's the owner, Tony Stovall. He instilled in me some values as a young man growing up, and continue to this day to help me and push me to be a better person. It has nothing to do with basketball. It's just about being a better person. So he, constantly on me and teaching me how to be a better person, and I'm forever grateful.
Beautiful. Heavy Brand Podcast, is more than just a youth podcast. It's also a mentorship platform. Derrick, would you be interested from time to time to mentor some of our young student athletes that that come in touch with the show?
That's an easy yes.
Appreciate you.
That's an easy yes. Because at the end of the day, I want to push people to be greater. The thing that I didn't have, it wasn't because lack of love. It was just because lack of knowledge. Okay. And so now that knowing what I know, I would love to give that to these young kids, to these youth, so they can be better, and so they can better help people, and they can be better prepared for life.
Yes, sir. So far, you're still, fairly young man, but if there was
don't put fairly in front of it. Don't put fairly in front of it. I'm young.
Now, Who will play Derrick Davis in the Derrick Davis story,
Wow, I'm glad.
and why?
Probably Derrick Luke, because his
Okay.
name is Derrick. He's a great actor. We the same complexion, and I heard he don't have any hair now neither. So probably him.
Fair enough. Derrick, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your schedule to hop on Heavy Brand Podcast. It's live stream on our Facebook page at Heavy Brand Podcast. Please check it out and share the word. I'm looking forward to our young ball players, Kampala, Uganda, Accra, Ghana, Juba, South Sudan, Banjul, Gambia, and all our viewers also here in the city. Thank you for coming on, Derrick Davis.
I appreciate you. Thank you. And once again, you get the opportunity. Matter of fact, I'll send you a copy of my book, Coach Derrick Davis, Winning Motivations 101. I appreciate you. Shout out to the podcast. You're doing some phenomenal things. Keep it up, and whatever I can do to help, I'm only a phone call away.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Derrick.
Yes, sir.